Hi, everyone, and welcome to Resilient Voices, to the space for honest and deep conversations about how resilience shows up in leadership, personal moments, and everyday life. Here you hear the stories of grit, growth, and practical steps that you can take. I am your host, Jessica Schultz, and in each episode, we invite a guest to share a chapter from their journey, from the moments that tested them, turning points that redirected their path, and the practices that kept them moving forward. And today I'm really glad to welcome Mireia Paino. She's a business strategist for online service-based entrepreneurs and coaches. She helps business owners to increase their revenue by improving what actually drives results in their business, their client journey, retention, and back-end systems. So her work focuses on helping clients turn their existing audience into more consistent income by fixing the systems that affect conversions, retention, and long-term revenue. So happy to have you here today, Mireia, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jessica. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So we'll just start this conversation with, we're going to talk about resilience and a bit how that shaped you in your life. So do you want to just give us some background, some context, a little bit more about yourself and what was happening in this time when this change was shaping the direction of your life?
Yes. So I was at my uni years when I discovered entrepreneurship. I was actually majoring in a science degree back then. It was oceanography. That's an actual degree here in Spain. I'm based in Barcelona. And when I discovered
Repeat that.
oceanography,
Yeah.
that's
Wow, that sounds very exciting, interesting.
Yes, so basically oceanography, we study the science of the sea. So we do not focus so much on the biology, on the animals. We study mainly the physics and the chemics of the sea, and especially how that will change with climate change. So it was a quite interesting, I would say, degree. So at the middle of it, I discovered entrepreneurship. I fell in love with entrepreneurship because it was a path that was something that we need to create, right, ourselves. Every day was different. And I thought maybe it's a great path for me. So obviously at that point, I didn't know anything about business. So here in Barcelona back then, right now, as I think I mentioned to you, Jessica, I found communities of entrepreneurs, but back then I couldn't find them. So I said, what country is the best when it comes to business? And the first thing that came to mind was United States. So I started to apply to become an assistant to entrepreneurs in the East Coast. And from there, I started to grow, learn more about marketing, then from marketing to operations, from operations to strategy, and now I'm a business strategist. But it all happened because I fell in love with entrepreneurship. I went to a seminar that was teaching us how to create a startup, and I fell in love with it. And yeah, that's a bit of a summary of my story.
That's very interesting. So this with your degree, then you just realized that was nothing for you because you decided to, because in the beginning you had an idea what you were going to do with your degree, right?
Exactly. I have always wanted to be an oceanographer, basically in maybe study all. Well, I major basically in numeric modeling. Basically, we create models to predict how the changes of the sea will be impacted for climate change. But that is something that I decided while I was quite young. You know, when I started to see the different paths for me, I didn't like them because I didn't see myself working for someone 48 hours a week. I didn't see myself, being stuck in the same position for the rest of my life. I think the benefits, the hours, obviously, and the salary, I have to be honest here, wasn't exciting to me. And I said, there are some skills that I have naturally as communications, public speaking, that with this career, I'm not highlighting those. I have always been into public speaking. And every time that I presented, it could be a project, even a master's or project that we have done in the degree itself, I have always received positive feedback saying, hey, I love the way that you present content, and following this path I couldn't see a way to highlight my natural skills.
Mm.
It wasn't only the salary part or the hours part. It was like, okay, all of us have natural skills. Could be communication, speaking, having a great ability to listen to others, that depending on the path that you choose, it's difficult to highlight those.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a exploration during your studies, but you did take your degree, and then you open up this new path as in becoming a passionate entrepreneur.
Exactly. So it was in the middle of my degree. I decided to work with someone in United States as an assistant. When I finished my degree, I was really concentrated on marketing. I was learning so much marketing stuff and strategies for online entrepreneurs, specifically for entrepreneurs who were selling a service, so service-based. So yeah, I was doing both things at a time.
At the same time, okay.
Working fully remote, because obviously I started in the East Coast in the United States, and I fell in love
And you're
with
based
them.
in Spain, in Barcelona now.
Yes, that was, I have always been here. I have traveled to United States for work, for launches, basically for launches, like, hey, we want to launch this new service, and I'm there to create the whole strategy, production, and everything. I always see myself here. I'm really family oriented, I would say. So for me, it would be really difficult to be away, but I love traveling for work. Obviously, it has been a bit of a challenge. English, it's my third language. You can see my Spanish accent with the way they speak. But yeah, I fell in love with the mindset there, the entrepreneurs that I met there. And I continue to work with them even today.
It sounds like you just decided to do it and you did it, but I'm sure that there were some obstacles, some challenges on the way to make a profession out of it. Or share a bit about was it just like you went there and you got yourself clients and then it was all nice and good, or what was the biggest challenge for you?
Well, I have to be honest here. There have been really dark and bad days. Being 9 hours away from my clients and my audience, obviously, I have received so many no's. I think everyone has received so many no's, but I wasn't used to it. And I think every time that I received a no at the beginning, especially being quite young, innocent, it was like a whole mess, a whole thing. And I think with time, you learn to not take it personally. I think that's something that I had to learn for sure.
Yeah.
Do not take it personally. A no could be a yes in another moment. And a no doesn't mean anything about you or your work. The problem is that we think it means that we are not good enough, that we are not valuable enough. So I think not taking it personally. And I had to realize that we as entrepreneurs will receive so many no's before we receive a yes. It's part of the process. If you talk to anyone, they will say the same. So it's like, and even when we continue to grow, obviously I receive so many no's, but that's the whole point, because before I receive a yes, I will receive 10, 20 no's, and that's normal. It's part of the process. And I think not enough people mentions that. And it's important to highlight it. And you think?
Thank you for sharing that, because I think that is really important. I was just speaking before our conversation now, I was speaking to a person that will be on the podcast a bit later on, and he shared that he put like 15,000 hours into to become an athlete for 6 seconds of fame, basically running a race that took 6 seconds. And that you got, and I think it's a bit what you're coming to as well, that in order to become successful, in order to actually do something with what you want to do, you really need to put in a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of time in order to get that yes, in order to get that success, in order to run that race and win that race. So with that said, just a question then, were you prepared for that? Did you understand when you started? Did you know that this was going to be, that you were going to receive so many no's before you got a yes? Or is that?
Actually, no. Well, people around me are not entrepreneurs. My parents are not entrepreneurs. So it's something that I had to learn. I wouldn't change it for anything. I think that was part of my learning path, learning to not take it personally and accepting that I will receive so many no's. But no one told me that. A lot of people told me the hard work. I was ready for that. I have always been disciplined. I was ready to work I had a lot of energy. As of right now, I have a lot of energy. For me, it's not a problem. But receiving so many no's, it did something to me, especially at the beginning. Now I'm used to it. But at the beginning, I think with the innocent spot, being so young, you have to learn some things, right?
Yeah, yeah. So when you said that you had to learn, what happened? You said that something happened to you. What was it that happened, and how did you overcome that? If you want to share that.
Yes. So I actually, it's pretty funny because I kind of put a finger on it. I have always I don't know if it's self-esteem. Some people have said to me that I was guided with God, or if you're religious, God, universe, etc. But some part of me have always believed that I was on the right path. Even when it was really dark, I couldn't see a solution. A part of me has always believed that I could make it work for me. And sometimes even the darkest moments, I have had conversations and I'm talking random conversations with people that they didn't know how I was feeling, that gave me hope. Like conversations around, keep pushing, Mireia, you're doing great. And they didn't even know what I was thinking or I was feeling at that moment. But I have always had those types of random moments that has helped me push through it. And I cannot explain, because when I explain it to friends, family members, they say I'm a bit of a witch, because it's quite strange that the darkest moments are someone who says something to me that triggers something inside me to keep pushing. But I think having faith and actually when I say building resilience, I think it also goes hand in hand with self-esteem. If you want to become an entrepreneur, your self-esteem will be there. You will need to work through your self-esteem, and do not take things personally. That means that your value as a person, it's the same, even if you receive 20 no's or 10.
Yeah.
So cultivating some sort of exercises to build self-esteem, to say I'm capable to achieving that, affirmations, meditations, it's something that, again, I recommend.
Yeah. No, that's really valuable to share that. And I think that if you can find that witch within you, because I think we all do have that trait, the competency of actually bringing out the best in ourselves when we are faced with something that's challenging, difficult. And I think it is very much like you say, that you're, and probably it might be like it becomes natural that for that once you've found that, how you want to say, but that power within you, it's sort of, you just know what you need to do, and it's not so much about thinking about what you're doing, but you just sort of change the perspective and move forwards. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, exactly. I think in my case, it came naturally since I was quite little. I have always been really in tune with myself, emotions, meditation from a quite young age. For example, I did my first silence retreat when I was 18 years old, and that's quite rare. But I think everyone can cultivate what we are discussing now if you have moments of silence. I always recommend to spend, especially if you are you don't have any ideas, you don't know how to achieve your goal. Instead of doing more, step back, take 1 hour, half an hour, 15 minutes, deep silence. And then you can journal about it, but deep silence, like just looking to the to the wall, resting, not sleeping, resting with your eyes open. And I promise you will start to have ideas on how to actually do it. But sometimes with social media and everything, we are not in tune with ourselves. So it's normal that we are frustrated. We don't know how to do it. But if we can cultivate moments of silence inside our routine, even eating in silence instead of watching TV, listening to a podcast, it's something that can help us know what path to take.
And that's really good advice. But do you also think that there are people that, because really it's about taking ownership of your life, isn't it? So you have It's like, instead of asking yourself, like, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? Like the victim mode, you really, it was tough when you got all the no's, but you sort of had some sort of driving force that, okay, what can I do with this? How can I move on? What is this telling me to do? So it's really about, it's a bit what you say, you have a cup, a glass that's half full or half empty. Would you agree with that? That it's also a point of view on how you view life and how you approach life in general?
Totally, totally. And that can be changed. I have met people who were really negative, who
Mm,
learned to have a more positive, perspective on life. I think it all comes down to seeing every challenge that we have. And again, I have had some darkest moments, even personal moments, not only professional, and saying, okay, what can I learn from that? How can that make me more nice,
mm,
more kind,
mm,
more aware? Instead of saying it, everything is, you know, doing it, people are doing that to me. What can I learn from that experience? Changing the
mm,
perspective on
mm,
that. And we can always compare ourselves, right? Right at the beginning, when I started, I had people around me who their parents gave them 30K, 20K to start their business. And I didn't have that. So every time that you compare yourself to others, you will find people in a better situation than yourself, obviously.
mm,
But you will
mm,
also find people who are in a worse situation than you, who did something. So
mm,
obviously we have more different situations, right? So I think
mm,
it's really important to say, what can I do with what I have? If you're a mom, you have 3 kids, 2 kids, and you only have 5 hours a week to work on your business. Okay, what can I do with those 5 hours? And because some people say, hey, I only have 1 hour, or I only have 30 minutes to exercise. So let's not go to the gym. No, let's work. Let's go to the gym. 30
mm.
minutes is something. So
Yeah.
with the time that we have, what can we do to move, to get closer to our goal? And that, I think, especially if you have had people around you who were really negative, or the way that you were raised, it's something that you will need to learn. And it will be difficult because your brain is working in a way that it's a disadvantage, right, for you.
Mm,
And you will need to unlearn all of those beliefs on how you
yeah.
see life.
Yeah.
And that's tricky. It's difficult. But I have seen people that who have changed how they see life, and right now they have a more positive, view on life.
Mm,
But it's work.
yeah. Yeah, because it's a bit like you say that it's I think it's a choice, isn't it? You can always choose to do something to change. You can always take that one step. You can go to the gym. You can spend that an hour you have in doing something to build a business. But and I think it's what makes the biggest difference is a bit what you're saying, that it's those small things, that those decisions that are easy to say no to, or those little actions that say, oh, this is too hard, this won't make a difference. But in the end, if you keep on doing those, that's really what's going to make the difference.
Yes, and we all have been there, right? So we want to be, as human beings, we want to be comfortable. We prefer, obviously, to be on the sofa watching Netflix, but we need to push through and think, okay, those are my goals and I want to achieve them. So I need to work towards
Yeah.
them right now.
Mm.
But it's something that our brains are made in a way that will always pick the easiest path, the easiest activity. It's normal.
Yeah, because I think that is because we're actually made for survival. We human beings have not changed so much since we had to when we lived out in nature, and we had to survive for the moments, because if we didn't, and we never knew when we were going to get some rests, because we may had to walk for hours and hours to find food. So then I think we're still very programmed into doing just being survival. That's a natural human biology, I think. But we know that we live in a different world now, and most people don't really need to be in survival mode as much as maybe it's what's natural for us,
Yeah,
because
it's
that's part of.
fascinating because we have changed in so many ways,
Yeah.
society-wise, AI right now, but our brain, it's practically the same. So it's funny.
Mhm. Yeah, but it's also about taking control as well of making this life changes, the decisions in actually saying, no, you know what, if I do the work now, the reward will be coming later. There will be something on the other side of something that's maybe perceived as difficult and challenging.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that comes to mind now
Yeah.
that you have said that is that sometimes is that we haven't given ourselves permission to go after that because there are fears, beliefs on what might people think of me. And I think I did that at the beginning. I gave myself permission to try to go after that, even if I failed, even if I success, whatever. But I gave myself permission. I think that's really important that all of us have a conversation. Even if we want to scale our business, it doesn't matter where you are at, but giving yourself permission to go after that. Because sometimes we are so afraid and we have so many beliefs around how we should act, the actions that we should have taken, that we are not giving ourselves permission to even
Mm.
try.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that's really important to address as well, because what happens when you try and or when you do things, eventually that will make a change. We store the results of our actions. So when we keep on doing things, even though we initially may think that we're not capable, but as soon as we start to do them and then we prove ourselves that, oh, I can actually do this. So by doing these little things, you can actually strengthen that capability and belief. And I think that's how you change your belief systems. What do you think about that, and what's your experience with that?
Yes, so I'm all free to starting small because generally I'm someone who, if I, want to have like, let's say I want to accomplish a big goal, generally I'm so afraid to that big goal because I have big goals. So for me, it has always worked to start small and say, okay, let's say you want to have a big community in social media. Maybe being seen by millions of people doesn't sound quite good because it sounds scary. It sounds with, you will have some hateful comments, bullying, because social media comes with all of that. But maybe instead of imagining yourself having that big community that obviously doesn't feel good within your nervous system, is like imagine having like just a small group of 10 people who all of you share the same values. Maybe that sounds better because it's only 10 people. So how can we attract those 10 people? And it could be, okay, let's post twice a week. Changing how we sort of reframe it in a different way, it's really important because if I say, hey, I'm posting to create a big community of millions of people, some people will block themselves because that's really scary to be seen by so many people. But if you say, hey, I want to build just 10 people, and I'm going to post twice a week because that's something that I can do. Maybe that sounds better. So especially if you have big goals, start small because sometimes our big goals are like really scary for some of us.
Yeah.
So that's really important. So yeah, I'm all for it. Starting small and you'll start to see big changes.
Yeah. But I also think that's great. I also think I got a T-shirt, and that's part of my like one of my visions I've had for a long time. I mean, it's not me that said that, but there's like, if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough. So I think that is, and then, but that's one thing. You have them; they're a bit scary, they're exciting, they're something is happening within you when you're looking at that goal. But then I think what you do, what you just said then, and then you just start to break it down. So you see that sort of goal, that sort of vision in the future, and that feels a bit scary, but that gives you energy, right? You sort of,
Yes.
whew, that gives you energy. And then if you just take action one step at a time, and it's like you say, break it down, like go for 10 followers, like start to connect, and then that sort of slowly that's that goal that is not going to be so scary in the end.
Yes, and I think one powerful way is having a vision board, like printing those images, seeing those images every day. It's a great reminder saying, hey, I'm working to achieve that. I'm working to experience that. I'm working to feel that. It's a great reminder. I have a vision board next to me, actually, and that helps me every day. I say it and I say, hey, I'm working towards this goal because X, Y, and Z. And it obviously not everything it's around the monetary value or revenue. Maybe the feelings, the experiences that you will have once you get to that goal. So I think, for example, my vision board covers not only revenue goals, but also how I would feel, the experiences. So I think I recommend it, like having a vision board is a great way to visualize your goals.
Yeah, I think that is a really good way of doing it. I have one as well. And last year I was really much focused on like very personal things, like what do I want? So it wasn't so much about my business goals and everything. And I actually, by doing that vision board and really, really working with that, I did it with a friend. So we did like spend like an afternoon just putting together, and then we talked to each other about it. And it really manifested. So I manifested a couple of things of those things, because I was obviously because we're all energy. So in the end, it's sort of, it just aligned. So
That's
a lot
funny.
of them came through, but obviously you need to take some action. So you can't just do that vision board and think that now it's all going to happen. But obviously you need to do something in order for them to realize in real life.
Exactly. We need to take action, obviously. But vision boards, it's a great way, again, to remind yourself. I think I use vision boards more as a reminder. And then it's funny how then there's situations or experiences or moments that are really similar to what you have on your vision board. And you wonder, is it magic? Is it, is it normal that that has happened? Because sometimes I have photos there, and then I experience something in my life, and I say, oh my God, I think I have seen this photo, what I'm seeing right now in real life. And it has been on my vision board for the last year. So it's funny how those things happen.
But I think that's why that it works, that you put things on a vision board and you visualize it and you remind yourself every day. So obviously you're going to steer your actions in that direction. You're going
Exactly.
to look for that. So it's the same if I think that is when you get people in and that are in, like, feel stuck, they're in victim mode, and then they keep on thinking those negative thoughts. And I think that works obviously the same way. But so what they're focusing on is what they do not want. And that's also realizing.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And I think not enough people knows that in real life. I mean, so many people focus on the things that they do not want, complaining, victim mindset. And I always think, oh my God, you're attracting more of that. But they're not conscious of that, because sometimes we do it unconsciously, right? But yeah, it's really important to have that mindset, and especially how we talk ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So if we just sort of go back to, I mean, you've decided to build your business in a different language, in a different continent where you do not live. So what would you say is sort of, how has that changed you and your life?
So on a personal level, has created so much, I would say, I don't want to say self-esteem, but seeing myself having accomplished that at some point that was like just a photo on my vision board or just a goal, and checking that has created so much faith and self-esteem on me, and saying, hey, if I have achieved that, I can achieve so much more, because for so long that was a goal of mine to work only with East Coast clients. And right now that's my reality, right? So on a personal level, I would say seeing like, oh my God, it wasn't that hard. And let me explain you that sometimes we imagine the worst. And I was imagining the worst, the worst, the worst. And it has been difficult. I'm not going to lie. It has been challenging, but it has also been fun. Building that from the ground up, having those ideas from my young age. So I think being happy also for that side of me. But I think on a personal level, I have changed so much on the things, on the capabilities that I have to achieve what I want. I think it has created so much self-esteem. On a professional level, it has been amazing, revenue-wise, clients-wise, the transformations that I have offered for them, the results that they have gotten with me, that has been amazing. But as everyone said, I think the biggest thing has been how I have in some ways it has changed me to be more of me. That makes sense. So I'm less afraid right now. It has made me more like I used to be maybe when I was little, when we have less beliefs around ourselves on how we need to act or do. So it has helped me become more of me. That's why I say that entrepreneurship will really help you cure your fears, how you see yourself, because it's so vulnerable. Selling yourself, your services, building something from the ground up, you will become more of you, more real, more authentic. And I think that's the precious thing that has created for me.
Wow, that's so amazing to hear,
Yeah.
because I think that also, because for me, it's a bit about curiosity as well. And I think because what I hear you, for me, that's very much about embark on a journey with like curiosity as and some sort of passion and knowingness that, okay, this is going to be a journey, and I'm for sure going to make it into something, and then you just start to explore that. And I think with that mindset, you also will grow, and you will find these challenges that you come across as being building your self, a bit like you're saying, that you're developing more of who you are and not what you have been taught to believe earlier in your life. That
Yes.
you're
Yeah, it's so good how entrepreneurship will make you more about who you need to be, like the real you. And I have discussed that with others, and they have said the same to me. Hey, right now I'm less afraid, and more of an extrovert sometimes. I don't care what people say of me. So entrepreneurship will cure your beliefs. If you really take advantage and you embark on a journey on self-discovery, So yeah, it's interesting how that, I think it's because it's so personal. When entrepreneurs, we create something that's so connected to our soul and everything, that obviously it impacts the whole persona, not only the professional side of us, but also the personal side.
But so isn't it really, because I found that for myself, is that it's not like I'm one person. I mean, it's an integrated persona and an integrated being, because you are so much of your professional part of you becomes who you are in such a big way. So you don't really distinguish between your personal life and professional life. It's just maybe that you don't bring the private things into your professional life as such, but you're the same type of persona.
Yes, exactly. So I
I don't know.
think, yeah, you describe it perfectly. And the business will reflect who you are as a person. The fears that you have, the things that you're afraid of, some beliefs, the business will reflect that because it's a mirror of you. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So tell me, do you have, like, when you started this different journey, then was sort of the path you thought you were going to like pursue by your going to university, and sort of, do you have your closest circle changed, or do you have the same friends? Or because I think that my experience and that a lot of people, when they change too much, that's uncomfortable for people around you. So they either accept you for who you are and what you're changing into, or they move away and say that, like, they sort of break up with you in a way. How is your experience with that? Is that something you've experienced?
Yes and no. So I have maintained some friendships. Is it true they have been really honest and upfront, saying what I needed, how I was changing and everything, so they could see that. And some of them I lost, but I don't see them as a loss. I think they serve their purpose. We were really close at some point of our lives because we were really aligned. And then there are people, we grow, we change, we transform. But I'm really grateful for the moments that I had with them, the loves, the learnings that we had. So I don't regret that. I think it's part of life. As we evolve, we attract different people. And right now it's funny how I attract a certain type of people And the friends that I have that are not in the same industry as me, value-wise, we are the same. We have the same sort of values. But when it comes to interests and hobbies, we are completely different. But I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, some people say, hey, you need to only have relationships with people in the entrepreneurial industry. And I get that on why they say that. But I think more than that, it's deeper, is do you have the same values as this person?
Yeah.
And the friendships that I have maintained, it's because of that. We have the same sort of values and we respect ourselves. If something worries us, we say it up front. We are not victims, right? So we take responsibility for where we are. So that's why I say more than the industry is, do we have the same sort of values and we take responsibility to our actions?
Yeah.
For me, that's more important. But I lost some people. I think that's normal.
Yeah. And I think, thank you for sharing that, because I think that that's one of those things that may affect people staying where they are, because if they change, things around them will change, and maybe then the relationships will change, and so it could be quite scary for some people that you don't want to change, because then you're obviously may not be fit into that reality with the relationships that you've had. So it will be a change. But then at the same time, it's like if you're value driven, like you say, then you will not connect with, if you change your values, and you move from like being more a victim into taking ownership, then you will not be able to meet those people that are constantly in the victim mode and complaining, and so you will naturally move apart. So
yes, and sometimes it's how we frame it and how we imagine it. Before I decided to start entrepreneurship, I was really afraid of losing them. And I was thinking the worst, saying, oh my God, they will not love me because we don't share the same degree. That's like the brain trying to protect me. And now I see that was the brain trying to protect me because I was embarking on a path that I didn't know anyone who was doing that. It wasn't known. So I think sometimes we picture in our brains the worst case scenario, and sometimes it's not the worst case scenario that happens. So again, I lost some people. I think it's part of the path. But some people, I have been friends with last 10 years. So they have been with the ups and lows of having my own business, seeing me really happy, crying, have seen everything. And that's also, and actually a couple of people of mine have said to me, oh my God, what you have done, it gives me hope that I can achieve X, Y, and Z.
that's amazing.
So a sort of like, obviously I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I know what you're doing. I respect you, your work. I could never do that. Some people have said that, but you show me that I can really achieve X, Y, and Z. And that has nothing to be with my goals, but it's, as people, some people see us, and me, I see people around me as an example. If they can do that, I can do that. So that's really beautiful that a couple of people of mine said that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's beautiful that they can actually express that, because I think that is really important. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast as well. And I think that's one of the reasons as well that you're here. You want to share your story and be that role model and be that inspiration for others. They may be in different areas of life, so it may not be an entrepreneurial journey as for you, but like something that just make that change, to actually take that step to be inspired by someone's action, and they don't have to necessarily be within the same area as you're doing, but you're really I think it's being a role model and be part of the change in the world that you want to see. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think again it was when they told me that I was, oh my God, do you really believe that? I say, yes, you have helped me see, more than I was seeing back then. And that's so beautiful said. So again, we can always learn from people despite not being entrepreneurs, not being the same industry.
Yeah.
And I think it's, maybe I'm from a generation that people are more conscious, and we have more knowledge on psychology. taking responsibility for our emotions. So that's true that people that are younger than me are really conscious of that and aware of their feelings. So that's something that has helped me maintain some of those friendships. But I think it's thanks to having the same value system and taking responsibility for their actions. That's really important.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. So looking back to like the journey that you're embarked on, and you're obviously still on it, so you're still working and just continue building your business and your platform for professional growth and supporting and helping other people in their businesses. What is your biggest insight in navigating this journey and that you want to share?
So I would say, especially if you're a women, I think we have a problem of not, when I look at men, let me start with that. When I look at men, especially entrepreneurs, they have the audacity to ask. They are not afraid to sell. They maybe know not so much of the industry because they are starting out, but they have the audacity. And as women, we are really afraid on what might people think of me. Imposter syndrome. I'm not capable. I don't have the knowledge. I need the certification. And I think we need to learn to have more audacity. Men have it. I promise you, they have it. And there's a study that when I saw it, I think 7 years ago, impacted me so much. That was like, women only apply to jobs that they met 90% of their criteria.
Yeah.
Well, men, I think it was 30, 40. And that, fascinated me because I think we need to break that statistics and really have the audacity and start asking ourselves, why not me? And start building self-esteem. It could be with a coach, a psychology. But one of the pillars of my entrepreneurship, and maybe it's because I have a mom who is a psychologist who told me to take action, to have audacity, to ask for the things that I want. That's obviously has helped me so much. I have to be honest. But something that with my clients, I work through that. It's like, let's take action, one action a day that's a bit uncomfortable. It could be starting a conversation, but asking for the things that you want, really building the self-esteem, because there's people out there earning 3 times more than you. And because you're afraid to raise your prices, as an example, you are losing money, but you are losing the potential to become a great business owner for people. And we always, when I say dictate with example, is more women are raising their pricing, not asking for what they deserve, or having more audacity, more women will start to learn that. That's something that I encourage everyone to do, to surround yourself with people who have audacity, especially women, I would say, and really work through the imposter syndrome, because it's all in our brains. Like, we're capable, we have a lot of knowledge, maybe sometimes too much, and we are not taking advantage of all the knowledge and asking for what we deserve, basically.
I love that. That's amazing insight and sharing, because I think it is, I totally share that. And I've that view that women are more cautious and that we don't take the space, the room and that we deserve, that so many women do deserve and have the competency to do. And I think as well as in business, we do business with people. It's about people. It's not about, obviously you have to be able to provide a service, but one of the reasons why your clients choose to work with you, because you are you, right? It's because we choose to work with the people that for some reason we connect with, that we feel like this is someone I trust. This is so it's really about people.
Yes, I think that's why personal brands are so popular, because we know that people buy from people. If we can highlight more our values, our personal story, our hobbies, our interests, people will start to connect with us and they will buy from us, because people, as you said, buy from people. And right now there's a tendency that people want to know, who am I buying from, if we share the same interests, especially values right now. So that's right now key.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I really that resonates. So we talk about resilience. I mean, I understand that you've gone through a lot of no's. You've really had to sort of work to get where you want to where you are today and where you want to go. So what does resilience mean to you today?
Resilience for me means that I made a promise to myself and I'm going to stick with that promise. So I made a promise with myself, and all of us have made promises. Hey, I'm going to build a successful business in as a weight loss coach. Resilience for me means you made a promise with yourself, and there will be challenging times, moments that will be really hard, but despite that, you will continue to push. Not because from an empty place, because it was a promise that you made to yourself. That's a different, that's how I see it. It's a different perspective. Not because, oh, I need to continue to hustle, hustle, hustle. No, because I made a promise to myself and I need to, maintain that with myself, because that's the most important one that we have, the promises that we have with ourselves. So I think resilience for me is you made a promise with yourself. There will be difficult times, hard times. You can take a day off, an afternoon off to think, to reset. You can go away, but the promise needs to be there because it's something that you promise yourself. That's how I see resilience.
Wow, that's a beautiful description of it, and I think what I hear you say is all about integrity to be true to your promises,
Exactly.
not only to but mainly to yourself, and not so much to others, but to yourself.
Exactly, but not from an empty cup or like hustle, hustle, hustle. I need to sacrifice my sleep, my health.
Mm.
No, you can take days off. You can
Yeah,
reset. You can
yeah,
think back your strategy, but we will always continue because that was a promise. So that's how I see it. Not from a sacrificing, I want to be clear on that. Not from a sacrifice point of view, more from a respect point of view towards
mm.
yourself.
Mm. Nice, nice. So where do you see you take yourself? What's the next step? Are you're how is this journey to where you are today? How has that given you that belief, that strength to move on? And where is that? Where are you going? What?
So right now I'm doing something new. I'm doing this year, one of my goals was to be more on podcasts, to
Mm-hmm.
build my audience and go on online summits. So the last 2 years was all about knowledge, more on the operational strategy side of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know everything and I'm ready to market it. I have enough time. So for me, the following year and the next year, it's all about audience building, like sharing my expertise, sharing my knowledge. That's where I'm at right now. And doing something that's quite new because I have never been to a summit, an online summit, and I have
Mm-hmm.
a couple of them this year. So I'm really excited for that. Every year comes something new. I think as again, it's a journey. And every year I try to do something new. And this year has all been around audience building. I would say so. I'm excited for that. So that's where I'm at. And again, every year it's something new and I have to cultivate self-esteem, but sometimes it's taking action despite the fear, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but every day, every week, every month, it's all about resilience and receiving so many no's because every year we are evolving. So that's part of the process. So I think that's why the name of the podcast, it all comes back to you
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
every year, every month of the business, it challenges you. So resilience needs to be there.
Yeah. It's part of the process. It's part of a natural evolving life, isn't it?
Yes, it's far. Yeah,
Yeah.
again, you said so
Yeah.
clearly. It's part of
Mm.
life.
Yeah. So this has really changed the way you live your life, the decision you made to open up that entrepreneurship box. So what would your advice or what do you want to sort of, what's your message to the woman or the man out there? Because they're obviously both that are listening to this. The, what would you like to say? It's like, what is the message?
So I would say two things for the women, as I mentioned, have more audacity, learn to ask for what you deserve, work through the imposter syndrome, the self-esteem, And I promise you, you're imagining the worst case scenario. Sometimes it's even better that you have imagined it. So that's great. For the rest of people, men, women, I would say, even what can I do? I think that's my motto. And I always say that to myself. What can I do with what I have today? And with what I have today could be energy wise. It could be that, if you have had a bad sleep. So with the energy that I have, what can I do to pursue my dreams? With the money that I have, what can I do to pursue my dream? With the clients that I have, what can I do to pursue my dreams? Because it all comes down to that. What can I do today that will make me closer to my goals? It's as simple as that. And it's difficult because, again, it's something that you need to do consistently. That's the difficult part, the consistency. But it's always the only thing that I ask of people is that they take action, a small action every day. What can you do today to get closer to your goals? That's it.
That's it. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that could just wrap up our conversation for today's podcast. Thank you so much, Mireia, for sharing your journey about moving into entrepreneurship, taking your skill set, developing your skill set along the way, and constantly believing that anything is possible and that you have everything you need to pursue this on the other side of the ocean in a different language, in a different culture, and you just made a successful business out of that. So thank you so much. I'm sure that this it's definitely given me some inspiration and confirmation that anything is possible for everyone. And I'm sure that several of our listeners have gained some insights today. And if you have, just subscribe, leave a rating, reach out to Mireia. We will leave some information about that if you want to connect with her in any ways, and obviously with myself. But so thank you so much to you, Mireia, for sharing your story, and for everyone that's been listening. So thank you, and just until next episode, stay safe and be resilient.
Thank you very much, Jessica. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.